Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's time to call this meeting, this regular meeting of the San Felipe Del Oro CISD Board of Trustees to order. The day being Monday, July 15, 2024. Mr. Secretary, would you call roll for us?
Yes, sir. Ms. Becky Luna Chavez.
Present.
Mr. Almaraz.
Present.
Mr. Overfeld.
Absent.
Mr. Mesa.
Here.
Ms. Linda Guanajuato Webb.
Present.
Ms. Haynes.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We'll have opening ceremonies first with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. It seems like board members, we have a very hefty agenda, but the majority of it is under consent agenda. So don't think it's going to last all night. So we have, again, a lot of items under consent agenda, but there's numerous items that when we come to it, you might have questions. The first item we have under the agenda is reports. Item 8A, AEP Foundation Grant. Jimmy Ernest, welcome to our meeting. Dr. Rios, you want to say something?
Mr. President, if I could call our Education Foundation President, Mr. Eddie Amesco, to the podium so that he can introduce Mr. Ernest, and then Mr. Ernest has a presentation.
Great. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Jimmy Ernest came and graciously wants to present a check to us. So I'm gonna let him describe how he got to the point and how he chose us. And for you, Mr. Ernest.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Ernest. I'm the External Affairs Manager for AEP Texas in this area. And part of my responsibilities is to support the communities that we serve. The AEP Foundation allows us to support education and support communities with programs like food and shelter. It supports culture in our communities, entertainment, arts, and music. And the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated ISD has caught our attention, and we wanted to present y'all with a $10,000 check for your education foundation to further enhance the education and the lives of the students that you serve in this community.
That is awesome.
I appreciate all the hard work that your teachers, the administration, everybody does for the children and, the community as a whole. And I hope that, as part of this community, we can continue to support not only your school districts, but other districts in the surrounding areas to further education for the children and support any needs that the communities may have. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And again, welcome to our meeting. And I wish we could bring him in the convocation when all the teachers present their ideas for the projects that they have. And it's just creative things that they do, but there's a lot of learning in between with the students and the staff. So we appreciate that.
I'd be happy to be here next time that comes around to see all the ideas and everything that come through. So I really hope that y'all can utilize these funds and really come up with some new programs and something that will spark the imagination of the children and really get them into learning and growing.
Absolutely. Dr. Reyes?
Mr. President, if we can, we have some members of the Education Foundation. We have obviously our president, we have our former president, and a couple of members, if they could come up here and accept the check from Mr. Ernest and we could take a picture, we'd appreciate it.
By all means.
Foundation member, come on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Mr. Smith, just one other comment. We had all the applications for innovative grants submitted, and last year we had about 90 grants submitted. This year we had right at 98 grants submitted. Unfortunately, we won't be able to fund all of them, but the $10,000 hopefully will go a ways in helping to fund other grants. So thank you.
Absolutely. Again, the teachers are so creative, and I'm always amazed at different projects. Some of the newspapers and things that they write for the elementary campuses, and some of the studies that they do in regard to the environment and other items that are so creative in nature. Again, thank you. Next item we have is item reports under 8, facilities and construction update. Mr. Hector Chapa.
Mr. Chop is
On vacation.
on vacation. I will make the brief report. If I can, Sandra will help me
Okay.
flip through it. Mr. Mesa, members of the board, today we will share project status on the electric buses, the bilingual curriculum, instructional move, early childhood special education, and the transfer of food service to the old Cardwell building. We are pleased to report that as of today, most of the charging stations are done. They have 2 charging stations. The technician is in town. He worked the weekend. He worked most of today, and he received the parts that he needs to bring the other 2. Also, most of the buses have been repaired. The technician is the same one that's working on him. So hopefully by the end of this week, all of that will be up and running. So that's good work there. The bilingual department and the CNI department are all moved in. A couple of board members have visited the site. If anybody would like to take a walk through anytime this week, Jane Villarreal will be more than happy to guide you through there. The early childhood special education unit at Cardwell, they had asked for an additional room to be built. We waited till the summer so that we could do it correctly. The maintenance department has just done some wonderful work there, and that is also complete. I know that Mr. Galindo stopped by to look at it. He can maybe share some thoughts on what he saw.
Yes, sir. Just would definitely love to commend the maintenance department. Got to see it before the room was actually torn down and everything, when actually it was just where the walls were going to go. And that was about the Monday after school. And we went last week, and you have that on top of the CNI building and what he's going to show with the food services, all done within a month from our maintenance department, working very hard to get these projects done. So just definitely would like to commend the maintenance department and all the efforts of everybody who was able to tie in. An amazing job done, and it's extremely great to see the hard work that has been put in and the results of it here tonight, and just would like to thank them very much for the hard work they have done. They always do, but and then extreme great work they have done in the last 30 days.
Great, thank you so much.
Moving on to the food service, so we're transitioning the food service department from the Raymond Haynes Annex building to the old Cardwell building. They've demolished it. They've already started to work on the floors this week, and they're working on the electrical. The electrical is probably going to take some overtime, but it should all be completed by next week, and we'll start moving them once food service is over there. Then we'll move the PEMS department into the Raymond Haynes Annex, and that'll complete the end of vacating those portable buildings, and then we can start talking about selling the portable buildings or donating them. We had somebody inquire about buying some of them, so hopefully we can sell some and not have to give all of them away, but we'll have more details on that at the next board meeting. Are there any questions on any of these projects?
Board members? If anyone would like to, again, visit the projects that are going on, please get a hold of Ms. Villarreal. Okay. Okay.
All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the maintenance of the work order status. The first part is the maintenance work orders. You can see that there is a low percentage on the 0 to 15 days, but that's because the maintenance department has been working on the projects that we indicated, and they also did some work at RBB. We didn't highlight it here, but the staff there had asked for some canopies outside the doors because it is open to the elements. So they did that as well in this time, but they'll catch up with the work orders after next week when they're done with the construction. Everything else is about the same, except the 0 to 15 and 16 and 30. That's why they're behind on that, but they'll definitely catch up. The technology continues to stay above 90% in all of the areas. And again, the transportation department is also, even though they don't have too many repairs to do, they are 63% in one area, but that's just because this is two things cause that. One, this is a time where some mechanics go on vacation. And second, now that we have most of the new buses online, they're working on some of the older buses with bigger problems, but everything's progressing as it should. So we're pleased with that work, Mr. Mesa.
Okay, questions from board members? If not, Dr. Rios, just on the technology alone, we always have updates that sometimes are done a little bit too late and school starts and there's glitches. Is there, are the updates being done now or not yet?
Yes, sir. They have been working on re-imaging the computers and making the updates. Last year, one of the reasons that caused it was because we were bringing on a new campus, and that did take a while, but that was the main reason for that. Everything is progressing as it should right now, and we don't anticipate any delays.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because sometimes some of the elementary schools, especially, the labs are not in place and the updates, and so some are running the first day of school and some are not, and it's kind of an inconvenience for that school to stay behind. It's not reasonable, for us to, as board members, to look at the utilization report, for example, and to compare it with others unless they have the same start date. So whatever needs to get done, if it can be done earlier,
Yes, sir.
that sure would be good. Okay, thank you so much for that report. Again, we come to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, one action will approve all items. On the consent agenda, there's plenty of purchases, and so some of these are minutes to some of the meetings. If there's any corrections to those minutes, now's the time to bring that up. In the meantime, I just want to acknowledge that donations will be posted.
Already have.
Okay, on social media. And as always, we appreciate individuals and organizations that donate to our district and to the different educational programs that we have throughout the district. So again, thank you for the donations, and we appreciate every bit of help that we can get from individuals and organizations. This time I'll turn it over to board members for questions. Mr. Galindo.
Just real quick, Dr. Rios, on F1 and F2. F1, the purchase order for commercial kitchen, it's more just a timeline. And F2, what is, will they have all the equipment in before school starts ready to go, and then the air conditioning here?
No, sir. Once we order the material, the equipment, the vendor has to procure it, and they don't necessarily have it in stock. Sometimes they tell they do and they don't. But it's been our experience that whenever we make a purchase that size, it takes a while for them to bring it in, because at the same time, they are contracting with the installers.
Okay.
So we expect that this project of updating this $618,000 project will take, I would say, the better part of this coming semester, as it'll come in pieces.
Okay.
Unless Paul pulls some kind of magic, I doubt it. It's probably going to take the rest of the semester. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay. But it'll get done, and then on the rooftop, that work will start as soon as y'all approve it, and that should be done before the end of the summer.
That was it, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? I just want to make sure again, Dr. Rios, that we, on technology especially, we'll still ask for the utilization report. So as we tighten our belts for the budget, you know, we are going to be asking as board members for utilization reports from individual campuses. So the investments that we make on the software that is being utilized on the campuses, because we do spend lots of money on software programs. And so we expect those programs to be utilized, especially for the benefit of the students. And so we ask for utilization reports as to how many hours they logged in, and we'll compare it again with campuses across the district. So we'll be asking for that. I did ask some questions for Dr. Rios. You know, we normally get all our staff development from Region 15. He specified that especially the bilingual department, we utilize Region 13, which is out of Austin, for additional assistance, and we realize that we do need that extra assistance in the bilingual program. Some of these other software programs they're licensing that we use annually, so Lexia, for example, and Renaissance Learning, and Metasoft for the curriculum development and storage. And so these are things that come up every year, pretty much. Dr. Rios, do you want to mention anything that is out of the ordinary? Or is there anything out of the ordinary?
No, sir. There is just a couple items that seem confusing. One is for our special education department, because we're starting a contract, but we're finishing a testing of an individual student. So we have an item that's listed twice, but for different amounts. And then for middle school math, one of them is a support for interventions, and the other one is a curriculum. So it might appear that they're listed twice, but they are two separate items.
Sir, would you explain the Century grant? I couldn't understand. There was a 12, and then I know it's the second year.
The 21st century.
21st century.
Yes, sir. This is a continuation application. We'll have to submit one every year. It's a 5-year grant, so we'll have to submit one every year so that we can continue to be funded.
But what is that 12 number? That I saw a 12 there, and I couldn't make heads or tails out of it.
Let me look. Which
I'm looking for it.
I think it's the last one on here. It's item C, but that's not a curriculum instruction. That'll come up in a little time. Item 11C.
Oh, okay. So it's later on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No wonder I couldn't find it under the consent agenda. I'll ask that question when we get to it then, I'm sorry. Okay, any
Don't go
other,
anywhere, Vanessa.
any other questions from consent agenda? If not, there being no questions, I will ask for a motion. Motion made by Mr. Galindo. Is there a second to the motion? Mrs. Webb, all those in favor? Consent agenda is approved. We go on to administration. First item we have is 10A, consideration to approve a new dual credit course offered at Early College High School beginning the 2024-2025 academic year. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The Early College High School Administration is requesting to add a music course that is offered by Southwest Texas College. And it's a 3-semester course that would help decrease the number of students that are taking art classes at Del Oro High School. This is a course that's being offered by the college, and it will help alleviate that circumstance. It's classified as a dual credit course, and it's set at a 6-point scale. And you'll see the information has been provided to you in this packet.
Okay. Any questions from board members? I just want to mention here something that, a session that I went to at the Summer Leadership Institute, Dr. Rios, and it has to do with online courses for dual credit, and they're no cost to the district. I was looking for that information today, but I'll go through that session that I went to because I wrote some notes. It's free of charge, and they do all the work as long as the student, stays with the course and completes the course. But there's no cost to the district. So as we tighten our belts, we could save some money along the line there. And they offer, again, as many courses that you can find at a university. And I'll get you that information, but I look for it today, and I know I have it in a stored place, so I'll get it for you. But if we could utilize that online learning and save some money along the way, we'd
Sure.
like to do that. Okay, there being no questions for Sandra, then you want to read the
Yes.
recommendation?
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the new course available to early college high school students as presented.
For the recommendation, is there a motion motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Mr. Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes.
Thank you.
Item 10B, consideration to approve the 2024-2025 School Health Advisory Council. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. In accordance with Texas Education Code 28-.004 and Board Policy BDF Legal, the board must establish a local school health advisory council to assist the district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health education instruction. In order to meet those requirements, administration would like to recommend the following individuals to serve on our SHOT committee. The first are the parents. We have Mrs. Patricia Cardwell, Mr. Oscar Gonzalez, Mrs. Stephanie Leverett, Mrs. Karina Mireles, Mrs. Melina Gonzalez Fernandez, Ms. Elizabeth Molina, Ms. Roxana Venegas, Ms. Valerie Rodriguez, Ms. Janet Puente, Mrs. Gabriela Huerta, and then in addition, the following: Mr. Josue Venegas is a community member, Mrs. Elizabeth Moynihan, also a community member, Ms. Melissa Padilla Limon, the District Health Services Coordinator, Ms. Claudia Juarez, the District Lead Teacher for our PE Department, Mrs. Brenda Iglesias, the District Food Services Director, Mrs. Monica Ruiz, our Elementary Lead Counselor, and Mrs. Carolina Cardenas, our Secondary Lead Counselor.
Any questions from board members? In the past, the Health Advisory Council has been so instrumental, especially during the time of COVID, with everything happening and the protocols that we follow. And so any updates, that we always got the updates from them. And I'm happy that we have a wide array of members in the council, from parents to, again, special staff from the district as well. There being no questions, would you read the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the above-named persons to serve on the School Health Advisory Council for 2024-2025.
Read the recommendation. The recommendation, motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very much. Item 10C, consideration to approve the 2023, should be 2024, 2025. There's a misprint there. Superintendent's evaluation instrument. Sandra Hernandez.
No, it
No?
is, it is the evaluation
Oh,
for this year.
For the end of this
the-
year.
for the end of
Yes.
this year, sir.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Has to
It-
be done in, scheduled in August.
It has to be scheduled. Mr. Mesa and Dr. Rios and members of the board, this is an annual presentation that we bring to you, the superintendent's evaluation instrument. The instrument itself is in accordance with BJCD legal, and in which the board shall appraise the superintendent annually using either the Commissioner of Education's recommended appraisal process and criteria, or an appraisal process and performance criteria that are developed by the district in consultation with the district and campus level committees. So we are following the Commissioner of Education's recommendation. What you see in the instrument this year, which has been an added feature to the instrument, is that we've included a section in which the 23-24 budget and the funds that are used for the allocation in that particular key performance indicators will be listed there. So you will see some information there in, that's aligned to the 23-24 budget.
Is that the only change, Sandra?
That is the only change.
it's
All
a
of the
highlighted, okay.
indicators, yes, sir. All of the indicators remain the same. The student performance goals remain the same.
Sandra, I have a question, and I don't know if your pages are numbered or not, but it has to do with ongoing responsibility, district management. Superintendent supports SB 802 to comply with cybersecurity initiatives, administrative procedures to reduce the risk of fraud.
And we can certainly look into that. In the actual evaluation instrument, you'll see that some of the indicators towards the back are the ongoing responsibilities, which include the district management, can be included in there as well.
So, but that's a highlighted one, and
Yes.
so it must be a new section added to the instrument.
I will certainly
No,
look.
sir. It's highlighted on there, but just because it's highlighted on the instrument, the different shades of
Okay.
colors, but it doesn't indicate it's,
Yes.
it's always been on there.
So it's something we have had in the past?
Yes.
Nothing new?
Nothing new.
Okay. Any questions from board members? Okay, you want to read the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the 2023-2024 Superintendent's Evaluation Instrument as presented.
Read the recommendation, I'll entertain motion for, okay, motion made by Mrs. Webb. Is there a second to the motion? Mrs. Chavez, all those in favor? Okay, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Go to item 10D, consideration to approve the nomination and appointment of a San Felipe Adore CISD representative to the Val Verde County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Dr. Rios.
Yes, Mr. Mesa, we announced at the June meeting that we would have a vacancy. The board took action, and we asked board members for nominations. To date, we have one person still interested in it, Mr. Enrique Treviño. There are no other candidates,
Okay,
so if I could have you take action as far as somebody nominating him, somebody from the board.
okay, we have one person. Is there a motion to nominate? Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Okay. All those against? All those abstaining? One abstention, again, 5-4, so motion passes. Okay, item 10E, consideration for the board president to appoint the 2024-2025 San Felipe Adoro CISD School Safety and Security Committee. Again, Dr. Rios, I've already asked the board members that have been on the committee. It'll be Mrs. Webb, Mr. Galindo, Mr. Overfeld, and myself that will be on the security committee.
Okay, if we just formalize it for the record, and it's a recommendation of the administration that, in accordance with Board President Messa's recommendation, that Ms. Webb, Mr. Galindo, Mr. Overfeld, and the Board President is automatic on their,
Yes.
be appointed to the Safety and Security Committee.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. I'll entertain a motion. Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We go on to item 11, curriculum and instruction, consideration to approve CTE changes to course offerings for the 2024-2025 school year. Mr. Gonzalez is not here. Cindy Salas.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. CTE administration requests replacing the practicum in human service with the practicum in early learning. This course change is needed to comply with TEA changes to early learning program of studies. These students receive on-site, hands-on instruction at Cardwell Elementary. In addition, adding career preparation for program of studies and extended career preparation as a course offering in all CTE programs of study. Very similar to our co-op program that usually is geared for our business pathway. However, this will target all pathways. Any questions that you might have at this time?
Any questions, board members? Hearing none, you want to read the recommendation, please?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the new course available to Del Rio High School students as presented.
You've heard the recommendation, motion made by Mrs. Webb. Is there a second to the motion? Ms. Chavez, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go on to item 11B, consideration to approve the resolution regarding extracurricular status of 4-H organization. Jane Villarreal.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This is a requirement to the student attendance accounting for state funding purposes that allows public school students to be considered in attendance when participating in off-campus activities with an adjunct staff member of the school district. So we're signing a considering to approve the resolution to assign an adjunct staff member, Mr. Tommy Eater. He is the county extension agent. Valverde County requests adjunct staff member status for the county extension agents for the school year of 2024-2025. And this amendment provides local school board to the opportunity to recognize county extension agents as adjunct staff members so that we can count students participating in 4-H extension educational activities in attendance for foundational school program purposes. I believe this is a yearly resolution as well.
Okay. Any questions from board members? Dr. Rios, approximately how many days are we talking about?
It's just a handful of days, Mr. Mesa, usually no more than two unless they participate in other activities, but
Okay,
it's very minimal.
okay. So I think all of us understand, right? They're excused for attendance purposes so they can participate in organization.
And how many, excuse me?
This question from Becky?
Yes, how many days was that throughout?
Those activities usually take 1 to 2 days. They're not,
They're not
yeah,
extended?
they're not
Okay.
very long.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, you want to read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees recognize the above-listed county extension agent as adjunct staff member and to count students participating in the 4-H extension educational activities in attendance for foundational school program purposes. It is also requested that Dr. Rios, Superintendent of Schools, and the San Felipe Del Rio CISD School Board President sign the adjunct faculty agreement and the resolution regarding extracurricular status of 4-H organization as presented.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for, okay, motion made by Mr. Alindo, seconded by Mr. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Go on to item 11C, consideration to approve submission of application for 2024, 2025, 21st Century Community Learning Center, Cycle 12, Year 2, continuation application for federal funding to the appropriate headquarter authority. Jane Villarreal.
Thank
Yes,
you. Hello again, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. This is so that we can submit the year 2 out of the 5-year grant. We have to do this annually. And so we are asking to apply the second year continuation application in the amount of $1,818,616 for the federal program for our ACE grant, our 21st Century grant. I know you had a question about Cycle 12.
Yes.
I'll have Ms. Vanessa Martinez explain.
Hi, good evening. So the Nita Lowey's 21st Century Grant, which we know as Texas ACE, is in its 12th cycle, and they're in 5-year cycles. So we picked up our grant in cycle 12. So this is going to be our second year in the 12th cycle of the grant.
Okay. So this is only a 2-year grant?
This is actually a 5-year grant, so every year we have to apply for a renewal.
Okay. I see. Any questions from board members? Again, this is something that is highly needed, and we apply for this, again, for the purpose of utilization to assist our students. Hearing no questions, would you read the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the submittal of the 21st Century Community Learning Center Cycle 12, Year 2, continuation application in the amount of $1,818,616 for the funding of federal programs to the appropriated headquarter authority for the 2024-25 year as presented.
Heard the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion made by Mr. Diego Almaraz, seconded by Becky Chavez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go on to Human Resources. Item 14A, discussion and possible action to approve employee job descriptions and evaluation forms. Amy Childers.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, we bring forward for your approval 3 positions, 3 job descriptions. 1 is an update, and 2 are new descriptions. The first one I have for you is an update to the counselor job description. Updates to this job description are aligned with the Texas Education Code, which requires a school counselor to spend at least 80% of the school counselor's total work time on duties that are components of a counseling program developed under the Texas Education Committee, or Code, sorry. Any questions on that one?
Any questions?
Okay.
You want to go on to the next one?
Yes, sir. The second employee job description we have in front of you is a new one for the high school counselor. This is a new job description which expands on the duties assigned to the high school counselors for 9th through 12th grade, including a comprehensive developmental guidance and counseling program intended to guide students through the high school graduation pathways, early college high school pathways, and career and technical education pathways in preparation for college, career, or the military.
Any questions on that one? Mr. Galindo?
So just to clarify, like you said, Dr. Liz, just to align with the Texas Educational Code, does it change too much of the jobs, or how does that work? Does it?
Particularly at the secondary level, it does outline them being prepared to lead students through a four-year plan, and specifically the CTE program, since we're going to be split funding that those positions.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go on to the next one.
Yes, sir. And the last description we have is also a new one for the principal intern. This new job description aligns with the responsibilities and competencies of the Grow Your Own Principal Residency Grant. Participating students will be assigned to instructional leadership roles such as facilitating, planning, staff training, mentoring, and coaching new and struggling teachers.
Any questions on that one? Hearing none, you want to read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job descriptions and evaluation forms as discussed.
Correct the recommendation. Entertain a motion. Motion made by Mrs. Webb first, and then Mr. Galindo seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go on to the next item that we have, and again, it's 14B, consideration to approve the 2024-2025 retention stipend for all district employees. Amy Childers.
Good evening once again. Administration would like to recommend a 2024-2025 retention stipend for all district employees. This will be a one-time stipend in the amount of $1,250 paid to all district employees in September 2024. And we plan on, if approved, this would be paid out on the September 13th pay period.
Okay. Well, this is good news. I just want to say that as board members, we wholeheartedly approve something of this nature. We wish we could have done more, but again, at this point, this is something that is positive, that we're trying to, again, alleviate everything that is going on with finance in the school system. And in regard to raising prices at the grocery store, from gasoline to food items and everything else in between. It's a good thing, and I appreciate administration working on this. Again, if board members have any questions, now is the time. If not, then I'll ask for a motion for approval. Motion made by Becky Chalice.
She has a question.
Oh, question?
No, it was a motion. I'm sorry, I got ahead of time.
Oh, you want to read the recommendation first?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the 2024-2025 retention stipend for all district employees.
Thank you very much. Becky Chavez made the motion, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Again, administration for working on this item. And again, we applaud all the efforts that can be done to assist our staff and every employee in the district as well. Go on to the next item, and again, this is item 14C, consideration to approve the 2024-2025 appraisal calendar. Amy Childress.
Good evening once again. Board Policy DNA Legal states that a district shall establish a calendar for teacher appraisals and provide that calendar to teachers within 3 weeks from the first day of instruction. This is an annual thing that we do bring before you, and in your packet is the appraisal calendar that will be shared with teachers and administrators.
Any questions from board members? Hearing none, recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the 2024-2025 appraisal calendar as discussed.
For the recommendation, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Go on to 14D, consideration to approve the second observation appraiser listing. Amy Childress.
Yes, sir. Board Policy DNA Legal also states that a teacher may request a second appraisal by another certified appraiser. In the memo that you have before you, we indicate who the second appraisers are, and those are a campus administrator at the same campus, or a campus administrator at another campus, or a district administrator from the following listing: the chief academic officer, the director of special education, or the director of federal and state programs.
Any changes from last year?
No, sir.
Any board member with a question? Okay, recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the second observation appraiser listing as discussed.
For the recommendation, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item is item 14E, consideration to approve the updated 2024-2025 district compensation plan. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, once again. This evening, I have one update to the administrative professional pay plan, and that's under pay grade 4, and that is the addition of the principal interns for the 205 days. And that is the only change at this time.
Okay. Any questions from board members? Hearing none, the recommendation again.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the updated 2024-2025 district compensation plans as presented.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation from administration. Motion made by Mr. Galindo to accept, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
We go on to item 14F, consideration to approve new critical needs assistant positions at Del Rio Middle School, Garfield Elementary School, and Ceniza Hills Elementary. Amy Childress.
Yes, good evening once again. The Special Education Department is requesting the approval of 4 new critical needs assistant positions, and they are being needed. We have 1 that's being needed at Del Rio Middle School, 2 at Garfield Elementary School, and 1 at Ceniza Hills Elementary School. These are new positions, and they will be funded through available funds from unfilled vacancies.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. First of all, questions from board members, if anyone has a question. Okay, no questions. Recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the new critical needs assistant positions at Del Rio Middle School, Garfield Elementary School, and Ceniza Hills Elementary School as presented.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Webb, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Go on to the next item. Student Services, item 15. Consideration to approve the adoption of the 2024-2025 San Felipe Del Rio CISD Student Code of Conduct. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Chapter 37.001 of the Texas Education Code mandates that each school district adopt a student code of conduct and that this information be shared with parents and students regarding the standards of conduct, consequences of misconduct, and disciplinary procedures for violation of the student code of conduct. We do have one update. On page 11 of the student code of conduct, it's under the disciplinary alternative education program placement. And they are adding, under the list where, when deciding whether to place a student, the items to consider, they are adding item 6, a student's status as homeless. They're breaking that. It was, last year it was listed with line item 5. They're breaking that out individually into line item 6. And then they are also adding the verbiage under placement order. It reads, after the conference, if a student has been placed in a DAEP, the campus behavior coordinator shall write a placement order. A copy of the DAEP placement order and information for the parent or person standing in parental relation to the student regarding the process for requesting a full individual and initial evaluation of the student for purposes of special education services shall be sent to the student and student's parent. They are also adding, not later than the second business day after the conference, the board's designee shall deliver to the juvenile court a copy of the placement order and all information required by section 52.04 of the Family Code. If the student is placed in a DAEP and the length of the placement is inconsistent with the guidelines included in this code of conduct, the placement order shall give notice of the inconsistency. That is the only change from the last year's.
Okay. Questions from board members? Amy, I know that there's some policy changes that are coming later on this summer. And for example, artificial intelligence, there'll be some policies that will be incorporated into that. So will those be brought back up to update the student code of conduct when they're given? Dr. Rios?
Mr. Mesa, usually when they have those policies after boards have adopted code of conduct, the policy will say whether it's effective immediately. And if it is, we can make an announcement on there. But because they passed the policy update with that language, it's taken care of. We're just told to enforce it. Now, we could always go back to the attorney and have them make the changes just to keep it up to date. But that's not always necessary unless we want to go through the added expense.
Okay, because I know that that's what was mentioned, and this is from attorneys at the Summer Leadership Institute, that there will be some that will be issued out later on this summer. No date given.
Yeah.
And then another question in regard to, let's say that they do issue some policies, I guess, for us to disseminate and have proof that the parents have read it. Do they issue them out in written form or online or what?
Well, parents are able to acknowledge both written form and online, and we make records of it. We do that for both parents and for employees. They can do that through the Skyward system. They've done it before.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we, everything that comes out this summer, and I'm not sure if anyone attended the law conference in regard to any issues this year that normally there's, whatever went to court this year is brought up there for changes Anyone attend the law conference?
No, Sandra was usually the person that we would send, but this year she was busy
Okay,
doing 3 different jobs, so
okay,
maybe. However, we did go to the legal update at the conference, and we have Rick Lopez will be coming down here on, I believe, next week to do the discipline code, chapter 37 update with all of our assistant principals and principals that need the 2-year update.
okay. Okay, any question from board members? Okay, you want to read the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the adoption of the 2024-2025 SFDR CISD Student Code of Conduct as presented.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mr. Diego Almaraz. Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Galindo, seconded the motion. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, the time is 6:56 PM. I can't believe. Going into closed session pursuant to Board Policy 5, State. I went blank. Pursuant to Policy 551.074 of the Texas Open Meetings Act and 551.071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Again, the time being 6:57 PM. We're now in closed session. If any action needs to be taken on items discussed in closed session, it will be taken upon reconvening into open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 7:54 PM. We're reconvening into open session. We're down to item 18A. No action was taken in executive session. 18A, discussion and possible action to approve personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Amy Childress.
Good evening. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resignations and vacancies and the following new personnel: Valerie Bersosa, pre-kindergarten teacher at Irene C. Cardwell; Jessica Diego, third grade teacher at Garfield Elementary; Jennifer Taliansek, special education teacher, life skills at Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary; Maria Bukowski, maps teacher at Blended Academy; Amanda Kennedy, special education teacher at Irene C. Cardwell; Fatima Martin Del Campo, fourth grade teacher at Buena Vista Elementary; Robert Lee Estrada, kindergarten teacher at Ruben Chavita Elementary; Erica Valero, fourth grade teacher at Dr. Fermin Calderon Elementary; and Victoria Rios, science teacher, environmental teacher at Del Rio High School.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve personnel report? A motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 18B will be tabled for further consideration at our next meeting. And we might as well get Amy a chair there at the podium because she's done practically pretty much all of it tonight. There being no other business on the agenda, is there a motion for adjournment? Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone.